Hello, my most amazing artists. Today we're going to be painting and drawing in the style of Vincent van Gogh's Starry Night. To start, we're going to be writing our name on our paper like we always do and class code with a pencil. You get to decide which way you hold your paper, either horizontal like I'm holding mine now, or vertical, which is straight up and down. You can pick which way you want your sky to be, either long or sideways, either way. We're going to be using oil pastels. Now, oil pastels look a lot like a crayon, but they work like paint. I am separating mine into warm and cool colors because you are going to decide if you want to use warm or if you want to use cool colors. You need to only pick one group of these colors for your stars. You can either pick the warms, which are pinks, oranges, or yellows, or the cools, which are greens, blues, and purples. The reason is because then you're going to do the opposite when we paint on top. So I'm starting out using my oil pastel to make some stars. Now, when I use oil pastel, I need to make sure not to smear it with my hand. It's also not erasable, so I can't use my eraser on my pencil to erase it. It is permanent. Making sure I don't get it on my clothes, I carefully swirl around all of those dots that I made. I do have to press pretty hard with the oil pastel to make sure that the magic can happen later. So I'm making all of those swirls chasing around in that same shape. You could add a moon or a sun if you wanted to as well. You're going to be making either your starry night or maybe your sunny day, whatever you want to make your sky. Now, sometimes when you press too hard with oil pastels, they do break because they're very soft. If this happens to you, it's okay. Now you just have two of them, but please make sure we're never breaking them on purpose and always keep them on the table so they don't fall on the ground. Because I picked warm colors, I can also add some oranges and pinks to my sky. I want to fill up as much space as possible, but leaving some of the white space underneath. If I were to take my oil pastel and start to color everything side to side instead of just making spirals and lines, then I would not be able to make the magic happen with the paint, because oil pastel does a trick where it says to the paint, "Get off me, paint," and pushes the paint right off because it's made out of oil and wax. That wax does not agree with the water and paint and pushes it away. So even when you paint over this, you'll still be able to see your oil pastel. It's really cool. Now, it is messy, so you'll have art wipes if you need to wipe off any oil pastel from your hands today. Make sure that when you have your oil pastel part done, you are ready for your paint. Now, you will be choosing the opposite group of colors of what you chose the first time. That means if you chose to do warm oil pastels like I did, you're going to paint with the cool colors. If you use cool colors of oil pastels, you're going to paint with the warm colors in your sky, like a sunset. I'm using cool colors because I decided to use warm with my oil pastels. We're using tempera cakes today. These are watercolors that need water to make them wake up. Right now they're dry. We're going to need to wake them up by putting some water on our brush. Now you'll notice that some of these are mixed up. A student must not have washed their brush in between, so let's learn the right way to use our paintbrush. Do we hold it here? Do we hold it here? Do we hold it there? No, that's called the danger zone. We hold it right there on that nice cushy pillow that's made for our fingers. After you hold it on that cushy pillow, you want to wipe it off on the side of the bowl after you dip in the water. You dip, if it starts to drip, wipe it on the lip. Never ever do we tap, tap, tap on the side because that will get water everywhere. Then you're going to swirl around in the paint. What you do not want to do is smash it down. You want to keep your paintbrush like a ballerina dancing on its tippy toes, never ever scooting around on its bottom because nobody wants to go to the booty scootin' ballet. That means when you smash your paintbrush down and scoot it across the page, that hurts Mr. Paintbrush, and you'll be taking a painting break if we see any of that happening. You want to keep it on its tippy toes also so it can dance right across the oil pastel, and this awesome magic can happen where you can see that oil pastel that you drew your stars with right through the paint. That's the most awesome part if you're dancing over top of it very quickly. Now notice I'm doing big brush strokes all in one direction across the paper. If my brush starts to get scratchy and the paint's not coming off, that means it's thirsty. It needs water. So if you start to see any scratchy marks, you need to add more water. Now notice I'm washing my brush in between. I'm giving it a good bath. The purple is a color that both warm and cool could use. That's why it's in the middle. So I'm going to add some purple, but wash my brush in between changing colors. I have to give it a bath even if it doesn't want to. I don't want to take a bath, but you have to. I don't want to take a bath, but you have to because I'm switching colors. When you're all done and all of your white space is covered up on your paper, it's time to take it to the drying rack. When we take our wet paintings to the drying rack, we never hold them like that. We hold them with 2 hands like the most important pizza we've ever held. Because that way the cheese wouldn't fall off. Just like holding a pizza, you want to make sure you have your name on it and hold it with 2 hands to deliver to the drying rack. When you put it on the drying rack, you find your own shelf on that rack and put it with the paint side up so it can dry. Then, we never want to walk it across the carpet just in case it does fall. If you sit on this side of the room, say at the red team, orange team, or yellow team, you're going to go to the drying rack nearest to you, which would be the drying rack next to the sinks. If you're wearing an apron, you'll take off that apron after you put your painting on the drying rack, hang it up, and then go back to your table to get cleaned up. When you clean up, you're going to use an art wipe for your hands and for your table. Make sure that your paint and your water bowl is on your tray all ready to go. Then throw away your art wipes, make sure your hands are cleaned up, and if your table's cleaned up and you have extra time, you can work in your sketchbook today. That's always in your table folder. All right, awesome artists, can't wait to see what you create today.